Hello all, I'm Advocate Jayashree and I am a lecturer at Institute of Sai on a part-time basis. Today we'll have a small demo about the paper number 1 for CS course, executive paper number 1. It is titled as Jurisprudence, Interpretation and General Laws. Now, jurisprudence and interpretation of statutes is something which is technical in nature as far as CS students are concerned because it deals with law purely. See, general laws, we have read about contract law probably in your BCom and all that. You would have read about the contract law, General Clauses Act. There are so many such acts in your BCom classes. Same way, we will do it in a little deeper study when we come to the CS course. Of course, it includes many other laws which will be new, but it will be interesting. I can assure you that. Now, let's just have a brief demo about the paper number 1, that is Jurisprudence, Interpretation and General Laws. What is jurisprudence? Juris refers to law. Juris means law. I am sure all of you would have heard about the word jury. When we have some reality shows and certain competitions and all that, then the word jury comes into play, right? So they say, let us ask the jury members what it is and all those things. So jury means the ones who are sitting in the judging position. So juris refers to law. What is prudence? Prudence means knowledge, awareness, knowing something is known as prudence. So jurisprudence means knowing the law is known as jurisprudence. Now, what do we study in the jurisprudence? We study about various schools of thought. Various schools of thought. For example, when we take up a topic, many of us have our own perspectives, right? So, same way, these schools of thought also have their own perspectives about law. So, I'll just give you an example. Sociological school of thought, historical school of thought. These are all also known as theories, legal theories. Okay, so legal theories are those which comes from the particular schools of thought. For example, some people look at law as a sociological mission. Some of them look at law as something which controls the society, sociological. Some of them look at it from the economic perspective. Some look at it from the historical perspective. How does this historical perspective look? Like we have customs and our habits and rituals of course will not come into play, but still in India it has a important part. Okay, so we have the historical perspective, we have the social perspective, economic perspective, political school of thought. So there are so many such schools of thought which give legal theories, and there are so many of the very well-known legal experts like Austin and there are so many people like the Lord Denning and all that who have defined the law according to their own perspectives. So we will be reading all these legal theories and schools of thought and the definitions of law, etc. in the subject jurisprudence. In the unit jurisprudence, then we go to the interpretation of statutes. Interpretation of statutes. Now what is statute? Statute is again a law. Now, why should we interpret statutes? See, law is law after all. How can you interpret something which is there? It is already explained in the law books, right? So, something is already explained. Now, if you know a section, for example, you are reading a section in the Civil Procedure Code or something. Of course, you have it in your syllabus for CS. So, Civil Procedure Code or Criminal Procedure Code or IPC, in Indian Penal Code, anything, okay? Suppose you have certain section or order and rule in CPC. Now, what is there to interpret in that? That's what we feel as a layman. Law is law. What is there? How can we interpret something? It is not that we interpreting it, but the experts in law have given us certain guidance as to how should we analyze the law which we are reading about. So that is interpretation of statutes. For example, if you are writing, say, very simple English words, English words like and. Now what does and mean? When we combine this with something else. Okay, we want to say this, that. Now we just cannot say this and this, that. So we have to say this and that. Or if we are going to give an option, then how do we put it in English? This or that, right? But when we come to the when we come to law also, it means the same thing. And or have the same meanings even in law. But where we have to write while drafting, especially you are doing the company secretary course, right? So drafting is a very important part of your job. So when you're drafting, you should know whether to put it. These may seem very, very simple, okay? Because you're good in English, you will think, I know where to put and, I know where to put or, okay? But still, when you're drafting, your draft should be good. So you should know where we have to put and, where should we put or. And just giving you a simple example. So some places what happens, it is an either or position, right? So when that situation comes up, you cannot say either or this. That is not how we write in law. We say and oblique or. This is how we write in law. So this is a simple example which I am explaining. So there are certain aspects which we have to do as per interpretation. Again, we have certain rules of interpretation which we will be going through when you come for the class. But I just wanted to speak to you about this, give a small demo on this, so that when you come to the class, you can be ready with I mean, you can have an open mind, and then we can get on with the class immediately. Thank you very much.